Hello and welcome to sportingways.com. My name is Thomas Rooney and once again I'm joined by Joe Rooney. What we're going to do this week is look ahead to the second round of Euro 2012 fixtures. We've seen every team in action so far. They've all played one game, so we'll be looking at these games and then just giving a little assessment as to what one game has it changed their chances or anything like that. So it'll be interesting to see sort of what people's perspective on certain teams may have changed after seeing them play once. And we're going to start with Greece versus Czech Republic, which is on this evening at 5 o'clock. I'll talk about Greece to begin with. Obviously, they drew 1-1 with co-hosts Poland in the first game. It was a very eventful game, a good start to the tournament in general, but they had a moment, they were obviously 1-0 down, but then to get back was good. But then they missed a penalty while they were against 10 men. So was it a missed opportunity in the end?
Yeah, I think whenever you miss a penalty, you've got to rue that. I think it's a massive chance to go on and get your tournament to a winning start, but not losing is the key, isn't it? In the first game, Poland, they came out to a cracking atmosphere. Could have been an intimidating atmosphere for them, but they came out, they played some good football, and I think they'll be happy with the point.
So, because in this group, in Group A, obviously it's competitive and it could be very close, but if you say you drop points like they did against Poland, there is another winnable game around the corner because it's not as if they've got Spain or Italy or Holland or Germany to play coming up. So there's still plenty of chances for points for them, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. I think they can go into each game and think we can win this. Definitely, like you say, there's not one of the big guys.
No. Really. Okay, and Czech Republic, obviously they were on the receiving end of a 4-1 hammering to Russia. Obviously lots of people have said Russia were very good, but as good as Russia were, Czech Republic really were poor, weren't they, in terms of creating stuff and in terms of, defensively they were very weak, I thought.
Yeah, I didn't like the look of Czech Republic, if I'm honest. I thought they lacked a lot, really. I thought that Petr Cech didn't have a great game. He wasn't as commanding as he usually is.
He's had a long season, hasn't he? But
yeah, definitely. But he's still a world-class goalkeeper and he should be. It's the kind of games where he needs to be coming out and being commanding and organising his back four. I know they're not as good as the players he has for Chelsea,
but he's still Terry and Holland probably helps.
But he's still got to come out and order them around. And when you're relying on the likes of Rosicky for creativity, it's not.
Milan Baros as well, who's apparently still playing.
Yeah, I didn't realise that, to be honest.
Okay, so Czech Republic with a lot to do. This is be a tight game, I think, and we're going for prediction on this one: Greece versus Czech Republic. I actually think it's going to be 0-0. I've got a feeling that neither side can really afford to lose, but then at the same time they both need to go for it, but I don't think either of them have got quite enough. So in the end I think it's going to be a 0-0 draw. Yeah,
I like the look of Greece the other night. I thought they played some decent football and I think they actually looked better than what Czech Republic did, so I'm going for Greece 2, Czech Republic 1. Okay, next up we've got Poland versus Russia, another Group A fixture, 7:45 PM this evening. We'll talk about Poland to begin with, the co-hosts. Obviously the first game, 1-1 with Greece. It could have gone a lot better for them because obviously they took the lead and looks pretty strong. Then Greece came back into it, ended up missing a penalty, so it could have been a lot worse as well. What do you think they're thinking after this one? I think content is the word almost. They would have been wanting obviously to come out and take all 3 points, but the way the game went, and with a penalty being missed from Greece, you've got to take that and be happy really. And, they've got a coach without Chesney in the next game, haven't they? But they've got a goalkeeper who's now full of confidence after saving that penalty. So they'll go into this game in decent spirits, I think.
And obviously Lewandowski getting his first goal was big for them because he's their main man going forward and he's just continued where he left off for Borussia Dortmund. So that's massive for them and hopefully he'll get a few more goals as far as they're concerned. And then Russia, I think possibly, they beat Czech Republic 4-1 in the opening game in terms of one of the most impressive teams so far, would you say?
I think they've been the best team we've seen so far. I think they were good going forward, they were solid at the back, they bossed the game from start to finish, never looked in any doubt that they were going to get a victory. And it's when they were sort of up by the odd goal, they kept pushing on and in the end thrashed them, didn't they? So,
in terms of, you sort of say the best team, but I suppose like of Spain and Holland possibly passed the ball a lot better and obviously a lot more pleasing on the eye in lots of ways, but in terms of like opposition looking at sort, I don't fancy playing them. I think Russia definitely the team to watch.
Yeah, I don't think you'd want to play Russia. Like I said, Dick Advocat, he's got them well organised. Everyone in the team knows their role, and they've got good players on the bench as well, which I think is key for like Pavlyuchenko coming on, scored a great goal, and he gives Advocat a good selection headache now, doesn't he?
Okay, so on that note, we'll go for prediction on this one: Poland versus Russia. I've got a feeling it's going to be a really good game. I think Poland will sort of come out of the traps quickly like they did against Greece and perhaps take the lead again. But again, I don't expect them to hold on. I think Russia have got a lot going forward. I think it's going to be an entertaining game. I think it's going to be 2-2.
Yeah, I think Russia just looked like the best side in that group by a mile, and I expect them to win this and win comfortably as well. I think Russia 2, Poland 0.
Okay, next up we've got Denmark versus Portugal. It's a Group B fixture, a really crucial game in Group B from 5 p.m. on Wednesday. We'll talk about Denmark to begin with, and what a fantastic result for them first up. They beat Holland 1-0, and they could have asked for more than that. Now they've got a chance of progressing.
Yeah, it was incredible from them, wasn't it? No, I think we said that they could thrive with having the pressure off them somewhat, and people not expecting them to get a result, and that's what they did. They rode their luck at times, of course they did, but a 1-0 win against Holland, just a dream start.
And obviously they took the goal well in the first half, but then everyone's expecting Holland to come back into it, but it didn't happen. And it's sort of in the aftermath. I think Holland obviously been criticised quite a lot, but come on, let's give Denmark some credit, because that was as solid as you get.
Yeah, it was just a great performance. I mean, like I said, the goal was fantastically taken. It was worthy of winning any game, really. And yeah, they can now go into this game just full of confidence, and they could qualify, no doubt about it.
Okay, and Portugal, obviously they lost their first game to Germany, sort of the victims of a typical German performance in the early stages of the tournament. Kind of not at their best, but in the end sort of got a reasonably late goal through Gomez. And Portugal just can't score goals, don't they?
No, I mean, aside of Cristiano Ronaldo, and they can't score goals, and something's got to be wrong, hasn't it? And every time Ronaldo gets the ball, you just feel all those Portugal players just sort of thinking, please come and do it now. But I mean, he doesn't seem to be at his best in that side, and the players around him aren't really doing it either, are they?
Okay, do you think he changed his hair at half time, didn't he? Do you think that's a superstitious thing? Right, we'll get a goal if I do that.
Yeah, something like that, but I'm not sure.
Certainly something's happened for them, don't they? Prediction-wise, this one is Denmark versus Portugal. I've got a feeling Portugal will nick it, only just as well. I think a lot of this group, I think it's going to be 1-0 wins. There was in the first two games. I think this will be another one, but Portugal will get their goal, probably through Ronaldo. I'm going for Portugal 1, Denmark 0.
Yeah, I can't see a great deal of goals. Well, I can't see any goals in this one, actually. I think Portugal is struggling to score. Denmark, I think they take a point from this, solid at the back. I think 0-0.
Okay, next up we've got Holland versus Germany. It takes place on Wednesday evening at 7:45 p.m. Obviously a massive game between two European giants looking to go very far in this competition. We'll look at Holland to begin with, and obviously a disastrous start to the tournament, and it was considered a bit of a banker, and definitely they're going to get 3 points, but they lost 1-0 to Denmark, and now they've got it all to do to qualify.
Yeah, absolute nightmare start off with them, wasn't it? Like I say, Denmark in that group, no disrespect to Denmark, but they're probably the most beatable team. They've got two extremely tough games now, and it's all to do for them, and it's going to be difficult for them to qualify now.
Do you think Holland's players maybe sort of believed the hype a little bit and just thought that if we just string our passes together like they did, sort of the quality we've got will mean we score? But even when they won, they were down, they probably thought it was going to come, but it just didn't, and they've got to be more clinical.
Yeah, they have. I mean, they had a ridiculous amount of chances and shots on goal, and you kind of wonder whether maybe that 6-0 win over Northern Ireland actually didn't help them in the end, and they were just too confident and, yeah, like you say, a bit arrogant maybe.
Okay, and Germany, obviously, probably performance you'd expect from them in like a tough game against Portugal. They weren't at their best, but they were solid, didn't really look like conceding, and then got the goal they needed for 3 points. And that's the sort of, if you can have potential European champions, that's the way you'd almost expect them to start, isn't it?
Yeah, it was just what you thought Germany would do first game of the tournament. They'll get better as it goes on, I think, no doubt about that. And I think Mario Gomez actually getting the goal was massive for them. I mean, there was some doubt whether he should start ahead of Klose. And he's going to be their big threat in front of goal, and him starting with a goal, he could score a lot of goals in this competition, I think.
Yeah, we'll see. If Germany, would you expect them to go from strength to strength? Prediction of this one, though, I think it's going to be a draw. I think Holland and Germany are two very good sides, and ones that, Holland especially can't afford to lose this one, but they've got to go for it. But I think Germany are too hard to beat, so I'm going to go for 1-1, which the Germans will be much happier with.
Yeah, I think, although I do expect Germany to get better, I expect Holland to really put in a performance here when they need to and prove that they're a world-class side. I think it's going to be one of the best games of the tournament, and I think actually Holland are going to win 3-2.
Okay, next up we've got Italy versus Croatia. This is on Thursday evening at 5 p.m. Group C fixture between two teams that really do have big ambitions to get out of the group and into the knockout stages. Talk about Italy to begin with, and first game 1-1 against Spain, sort of on the surface of it, a decent point, and although they were leading, obviously could have got more, in the end they'll be happy with that, do you think? And that's sort of got the ball rolling for them?
Yeah, you have to be happy with a point against Spain, don't you? I mean, it was two sides playing a different style of football, but I thought Italy were actually the better side in the first half, and then they were deserving of their lead in the second. And yeah, solid point for them.
I think the missed opportunity though, do you not think? Because obviously Spain weren't quite at their best. They were, didn't have much going forward in terms of like the clinicalness of it. And obviously they got the goal in the end, but they had to turn it on. But I just think against a below par Spain side, they really could have had a chance to get 3 points there. And
I don't know if they could end up regretting it. I don't know.
They could do, yeah. It's obviously all about what they do in this game now. But you look at someone like Balotelli, he had a great chance, and he just almost seemed to just stop and just completely fluff his lines a bit, which would be a worry for them because he's got to be good for them.
Do you think he'll start? Do you think Di Natale will come in after his goal?
I think he'll give Balotelli another go, and just because Di Natale came off the bench and delivered, expect him to do that again if he needs to call upon him. But I think he'll give Balotelli another go.
Okay, we'll see. In Croatia, obviously they played Republic of Ireland, and it wasn't the battle of two of the greatest teams we've seen so far. Ireland were poor, but in the end, sort of Croatia with Jelavic were clinical when it counted, and made the most of Ireland's mistakes and won the game 3-1. And they've now given themselves a chance and a platform to push on.
Yeah, I was quite impressed with Croatia. I thought they played some good football. I thought Modric was brilliant during the game. I think he pulled the strings, and Jelavic, he only needs to sniff a goal, doesn't he? All his goals are just first time finishing. He'll do it. You only need to give him half a chance, and he'll find the back of the net.
Okay, but go for a prediction on this one then. We go for Croatia versus Italy. And I actually think Republic of Ireland, how bad they were, was more to do with the Croatia victory than Croatia. I wasn't massively impressed. I think they, a good team could really expose them, I think. And on that note, I think it's going to be a 2-1 win to the Italians. I think they'll just have enough to beat this Croatian side.
Yeah, I quite liked Croatia. I thought they started the tournament solidly. I think they're going to build on that performance, and I actually think they're going to sneak this game 1-0.
Okay, next up we've got Spain versus Republic of Ireland. It's a Group C fixture, 7:45 p.m. on Thursday, and we're going to talk about Spain to begin with. And first game, 1-1 with Italy. They were relatively below par, which obviously is still a very good performance potentially for Spain because their standards are so high. But overall, will they be happy with the point given the performance and the pitch, which they're moaning about?
Yeah, I think not happy. I don't think they'll be happy with the point because of the performance. I think they'll feel as though they had a lot more to give. But they didn't play with a striker, which I found quite strange. I thought it was just crying out for someone just to hold the ball up a bit more. You got the likes of Silva and Fabregas up there. As good as they are and as good as they were for the goal, when they're two combined, not much is going to stick up there, is it? Really? I don't think.
Do you think that says a lot about that without David Villa, that he's actually that confident like Torres or Llorente can do the job that he does?
Yeah, I think so. I think Villa's just a massive blow for him to be out of the tournament. Yeah, I think Del Bosque is kind of a bit sceptical, I think, of what the other two can do.
And if you've got that many world-class midfielders, no, you just want to get on the pitch somehow. The Republic of Ireland, as much as the fans are brilliant and it's great to have them in the tournament, it's not a bit around anniversary. They were poor against Croatia, lost 3-1, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be so frustrating for Trapattoni because he's going to be. One thing that he wanted was a side that was difficult to beat, solid in defence. They've kept a lot of clean sheets in qualifying and the friendlies leading up to it, and then they come to the big stage when it matters, and they're just awful at the back and they give away sloppy goals. So he'll be absolutely fuming, I think, with that.
You can't afford to do that against Croatia, let alone against Spain. So they really do have to improve 100% if they're going to get anything from this one.
I think it's a big task for Trapattoni now to reinstall some confidence in that side as well, because they'd have been hopeful that they'd have taken a 0-0, of course they would, but their game plan almost got torn apart, and they thought that's them just thinking, hang on, are we actually that good defensively? I think now.
Okay, so we'll go for a prediction: Spain versus Republic of Ireland. And I think Ireland kind of owe their fans sort of a really big performance in this tournament at some stage. I think we'll come in parts of this one. I think they might even equalise after Spain take an early lead, but similar to the Croatian match, I think Spain will come out and their quality will shine through, and I think it's going to be 3-1 to the Spanish.
Yeah, I see nothing but a Spain win here, to be honest. I think Ireland's confidence is shot. Spain will grow into the tournament as it goes on. I think Spain will win this 3-0.
Okay, next up we're going to go on to Friday's fixtures. It's Group D, and it's Ukraine versus France to talk about first, the 5 p.m. kickoff on Friday. We're going to talk about co-host Ukraine to begin with, and what a story it was for them in the first game. They're losing 1-0 to Sweden, everyone's sort of a little bit flat. Then Shevchenko, of all people, comes out and scores 2 goals, and they win the game. You couldn't write it, could you?
No, you really couldn't. Just incredible. It was a fantastic game to watch in the end. I mean, the first half was pretty dire, to be honest, and then it just came alive, and the atmosphere, and you wanted it to happen in a way, but you just didn't expect it, and it's just incredible.
And with Shevchenko, I think people were kind of surprised. Obviously, they were surprised, but he's still a world-class finisher. I mean, he's always been clinical, and those 2 headers, his movement for it. Obviously, his pace has gone a bit, but some people before the game were talking about him like he's a 45-year-old fat bloke, but he's not.
No.
He's still very, very fit, and he's very, he can get the goal if he wants. But still, just tremendous that he did it on and on.
Yeah, I think he's a clever player as well. He's very clever, and he knows now that there's no point in being on the shoulder last man all the time and making runs in behind, because he's not going to do it.
Yeah.
He knows he conserves his energy, and he knows that when the ball comes into the box, he's relying on those 3 or 4 yards, just that quick movement.
Yeah.
And he's still electric in those 3 or 4 yards.
Yeah.
I know it's not much, but it means a hell of a lot. And that first goal, his header, he didn't care about clattering someone on the way in. I thought it was just brilliant from Shevchenko.
Obviously, Ukraine's expectations were high before that, even higher now, so they've got a lot of pressure on them, but they'll be pleased with the win to begin with. And France obviously drew 1-1 with England. After going 1-0 down, they maybe similar to England, they'll just be reasonably happy with a point just to get going. But do you think they maybe had sort of enough of the ball to kind of get the win in that one?
Yeah, I think part of them will sort of be a bit concerned that they had so much of the ball and they weren't able to find the net again. But I mean, Benzema looked sharp in patches. I think there's still a lot more to come from him. But they played some very good football, and I only expect them to get better. I think actually.
Okay, and I'd say Nasri was their danger man really, but I think they just need a bit more, just when they're in those positions, just sort of a bit more oomph about them really, because they're kind of asking about a little bit, but if they're a bit more direct, a bit more, did shoot from range like Nasri did, then maybe they can create more, because I think they should have done, given the possession they had. We'll go for prediction on this one though, Ukraine versus France. I think it's France are going to get the win. I think Ukraine might have a little bit of a hangover from the other night, more ways than one, and I think it's going to be 1-0 to the French.
Yeah, I think Ukraine. I think I'm going to go the opposite. I think they're actually going to come out and they're going to be thriving off the atmosphere again, and they've got the confidence of the win. I don't think they'll win here. I think it's going to be a draw. I think Ukraine 2, France 2.
Okay, the final game to look at is at 7:45 p.m. on Friday evening. It's Sweden versus England, and obviously we'll talk about England in a second. But obviously first we're going to talk about Sweden. First game, extremely disappointing. Lost 2-1 to Ukraine, having taken the lead, and sort of where do they go from here?
Yeah, it was very, very disappointing for them. I mean, when you go 1-0 up against a team like Ukraine, you should hold on to it really. Ibrahimovic, he got the goal and he was decent for them, but he looked like their only hope in front of goal, I thought, and this could be a struggle for them now.
He's an interesting character, isn't he, Ibrahimovic? Because I think he sort of gets criticised for being comfortably their best player. Because sometimes when he doesn't quite do it, they're like, oh, he's not turned up. But it's not his fault. It's comfortably their best player. Although having said that, his marking for Shevchenko's second goal.
Yeah, I think although he is the best player, and like you say, he sometimes gets some unfair stick there, I think he does sometimes just think, well, I am the best player. I'm going to be picked, so do I need to put that extra 5-10% in? Like I say, I mean, he gave them the win in the end with that marking, because there's no way that Shevchenko should be scoring a header from there. No. And you sort of looked at Ibrahimovic, who sort of just shrugged his shoulders and just let him go almost.
He got his goal, didn't he? So, and then England. Obviously, there's been mixed kind of reaction to it because we got the point 1-1. We did lead like we always seem to do in the first game of major tournaments, but then we never go on to get the win. Certainly in the European Championships. Overall, England solid is the word everyone's been using.
Yeah, I think solid. I think happy as well. I think in terms of tournament football, it looked set up very well. I thought the back four were tremendous. I thought they dealt with France's. I didn't think France actually caused many problems from inside the box. It all came from long range shots. If you beat them from long range shots, there you go. It's bits of quality, but no, I think decent England.
It's reasonably happy moving forward, and you've got to remember that Wayne Rooney's got to come back into this team, and I don't think enough has been made of that, because you take Ronaldo out of Portugal, you take Ibrahimovic out of Sweden, and Rooney is that big for England, and bring him back in, although Welbeck was very impressive, maybe they can sort of combine like they do for United, but obviously important game to come first.
Yeah, I think Rooney is going to be key to this, but they need to win this first, because there's no point losing this and then having 1 point in the last game. Then Rooney could make no impact on the tournament at all. But I think it'd be good to see Rooney and Welbeck link up and have you can put Ashley Young out on the left, where I actually think he's better. Yeah,
I think one thing they need to do against Sweden is bring Ashley Young into it more, because he didn't get anywhere near enough the ball, did he?
No, definitely, yeah.
Okay, we'll go for prediction this one though. Sweden versus England. And I think England will get the win that we need. I think it's going to be 2-0 to England. I think Sweden were disappointing. They don't excite me too much, and they don't worry me too much at the same time. I think our defence is strong enough to handle their main threat, and I think England will win 2-0.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very similar to the two friendlies leading up to the tournament. Sort of effective, if not too exciting. I think it's going to be another 1-0 win for England.